It's autumn in Otago, and that can only mean one thing. Yes, the opening round of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. 3 rallies in one make up Otago Rally. Group A Challenge will run first, followed by the Ineos Classic Rally cars, and then finally the NZRC cars. The rallies run over 2 days, from Middlemarch in central Otago to the rolling roads of the Taieri Hills in the south. This week we meet the drivers competing in the two-wheel drive classes, the loud and proud open class cars, the historic class, and the NZRC two-wheel drive cars. The rally opens with a stage near Palmerston on the east coast before a 30-kilometre stage from Palmerston across to Macrae's mine before heading along to the valley to Middlemarch. Dylan Thompson was going to take a year off, but instead he teamed up with his cousin Baden, with encouragement from his sponsors, was back to defend the two-wheel drive title in his Fiesta ST150.
Dylan, first stage of the year and plenty of sun and dust to challenge you.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Baden did a good job on the notes, so we did try and tip it over a little bit at a 3 left in junction, but other than that, no, it was good.
Yeah, car's all running well?
Yeah, I think so. I just need to learn how to drive it.
Bryn Jones and Jordan Grant battled for second over the morning. It's first blood to Grant on stage 1. The Suzuki Swift is a Kiwi-built challenger to the FIA Fiesta R2 and N3 cars, which were built by M Sport in the UK. But an engine problem saw Jordan lose 30 seconds to Jones on stage 2. That allowed Jones to take second position, which he held for the morning.
And both Jordan and Bryn are in their second year of the championship. But for Bryn, it's a new co-drive with Jared Hudson this season, and he'll be looking for a big improvement on what was a very tough debut year.
Bryn, challenging way to get the campaign off to a start with the sun and the dust and everything?
Oh no, we weren't affected by it at all. Obviously we're learning to write notes this weekend, so yeah, it was a bit tentative at the start there, just trying to get used to it all. But overall, not bad start to the rally. Jared's doing an awesome job, so yeah, we'll carry on.
Charlie Evans is well known in the Top Half Rally series. He's built a reliable and quick Honda Civic powered by an Integra engine. This is his first visit to Otago after many years of competing. Third through the morning was a good start. Andy Martin and Lucas Ramsey both running identical Fiesta R2 spec cars. For Martin, this is just the time in the seat before he drives his VW Golf R5, hopefully in Whangarei. But for Lucas Ramsey, this is his championship debut. He's been around rally cars since he was born and competing since age 13. Nice to see then that his times are matching those of the vastly more experienced Andy Martin.
And Lucas's father, Chris, was a front runner at this very event some 25 years ago.
JP Vandermeer steps up to the NZRC in 2022, taking over the ex-Clendon Fiesta to replace a Suzuki Swift. Like Andy Martin, Jackson Clendon is awaiting the delivery of his Rally 4 spec Fiesta, but for Otago is in an underpowered Toyota Vitz.
And this is part of a spec build program. There's 3 or 4 cars like this, and for Jackson it's just a great reliable way to put some points on the board at round 1.
In the open class, Brent Taylor, back in his Toyota, and Dave Strong returns with a season behind him now, hoping to find some reliability in the radical Honda Jazz.
And this car could not be further from factory. V6 engine in the back with a supercharger, rear-wheel drive. It's everything this car wasn't from the factory.
Dan Haynes and Chris Alexander, both new to the class. Haynes has been a regular in the challenge class in his Escort, now making the move to full championship participation.
And that's exactly what the Rally Challenge class is there to do. Let you dip your toe into NZRC competition and ready for the 2 days. And unseasonably warm conditions saw some drivers complaining about visibility, but it looks like Dan is not suffering with too many dust issues here.
5 left. 5.
A new car for Alexander, now a Corolla. And a near miss here on stage 2, getting his attention. And it wouldn't be Otago without the historic class. Among the entries for the Classic Rally, 4 cars fighting for the New Zealand Historic Challenge. John Silcock in the Mazda RX-7 Group B, now a very well sorted car, paired with long-time co-driver Donna Elder. Leading the escorts, Shane Merland, who spent time racing in the North Island Endurance Series, but back at home on the gravel. And the Welsh Kiwi Anthony Jones in his second tilt at the title, also in an escort, admitting that these are not his favoured roads. And returning in the powerful Mitsubishi Turbo, Christchurch pairing Graham Coe and James Coles.
So at the first service, it's Dylan Thompson who leads a stacked NZRC two-wheel drive field over Bryn Jones, with Charlie Evans third in the Honda. In the open two-wheel drive class, it's Brent Taylor setting the pace, ahead of Dan Haynes and Dave Strong. And in this historics, a titanic battle sees John Silcock leading Shane Merland.
In the NZRC two-wheel drive class, Andy Martin had his day cut short when the car stopped on the way to stage 5 with electrical problems. Dylan Thompson continued to lead over the stages. Behind him, Bryn Jones was feeling the pressure from the Honda Civic of Charlie Evans. Evans was co-driven by his niece Dana. In fact, 40% of the drivers and co-drivers in this event were female, a growing trend in rallying here in New Zealand.
And you can see that although the Civic's got plenty of power, it doesn't quite have the sophisticated suspension of a Fiesta.
Bryn Jones also has a new co-driver, the young, very experienced Jared Hudson, who's grown up in a family of co-drivers. Evans closed the gap over the afternoon, but Jones responded on the final stage to stay clear in second. Jordan Grant's Suzuki Swift not able to match Jones and Evans, still nursing an engine issue, but he stayed ahead of the battle with the Fiestas of Lucas Ramsey and John Paul van der Meijs. Ramsey and Grant swapping stage positions through the afternoon. Van der Meijs still getting a handle on his ex-Clendon Fiesta. After a couple of near misses, he'd settled into a safe pace to get to the end of the day. Which is exactly what Clendon was aiming for, getting points on board in this round and hoping to be competitive at round 2. Otago always provides great competition in the historics, as they're also part of the classic two-wheel drive rally. John Silcock was just ahead of Shane Merland throughout the afternoon, the gap never more than 20 seconds. Merland won stage 4 and 6, but it wasn't enough to overtake the Mazda. And all the while they were both in the top 4 of the classic rally. Anthony Jones had generally matched Shane Merland's escort over the afternoon, just losing a few seconds a stage to be in third. Likewise, the Lancer of Graham Coe, just not as fast as the escorts, so losing touch with Jones, but still 4th place in a championship where reliability counts heavily with these old cars. Brent Taylor and Dave Strong, both very experienced drivers in the open class. While Taylor might not have as many years behind the wheel as Strong, his advantage here is that he and co-driver Chris Ramsey are very familiar with their Toyota 86. Strong, however, is in the early stages of developing his radical rear-engineered Honda Jazz. The Toyota driver ran away over the afternoon. Strong was in a close battle with Dan Haynes. Haynes has been campaigning his escort in the challenge class over the last couple of years, but moves to the NZRC Open two-wheel drives in 2022. By the end of the day, he was just 9.9 seconds down on Strong.
But this spin won't help his cause. And look, he's disappeared into a wall of dust. Get those wipers going, Dan.
450. 5 right. Minus, and do 5 left plus.
Chris Alexander going strong in the Toyota Corolla that finished second in the Otago Classic Rally back in 2008 when it was BDA powered.
So after the opening day, it's Dylan Thompson that leads the NZRC two-wheel drive class over Bryn Jones, Charlie Evans and a surviving Jordan Grant. The open two-wheel drive class has been the domain of Brent Taylor in the Toyota 86. but a big battle between Dave Strong and Dan Haynes for second. And speaking of big battles, in the historics, John Silcock just maintaining his margin over Shane Merland.
Round one of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship also featured the one-day Rally Challenge for clubman entries. Interesting mix of cars lined up for the Saturday stages. Jonty Brenzel back this year in his very quick Toyota Starlet. He took the lead from stage one and was unbeaten all day. Dave Taylor back in his Civic after a couple of seasons in the four-wheel drive class, and in a first had his grandson co-driving for him. He faced stiff competition early on from the front drive Lancer of Sam Byrne, and then later from Jono Shapley. Shapley has also left the four-wheel drive ranks to have a go in this turbocharged Toyota Vitz. And another new car, a front drive Subaru of Zeal Jones, taking a leaf out of Sam Byrne's book. Not quite the pace yet of the others, certainly an interesting alternative. So the Rally Challenge, it's Jonty Brenzel on top step of the podium with David Taylor in second and Jono Shapley in third.
Jonty, congratulations, mate. Pretty dominant performance, and you had some dramas along the way as well that you had to overcome. Well done.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, good day. So massive thanks to the crew for getting me through. That last stage, we smashed the top out of the gearbox, so we're lucky to get third and then get back here to take this one.
The Sunday stages of Rally Otago would be run south of Dunedin, with 2 service breaks at Lake Waihola. In the NZRC two-wheel drives, it was again Thompson, Jones and Evans who would fight for the lead in the Day 2 standings. Stage 10, Thompson took a narrow 7.5 second lead over Jones, with Evans another 5 seconds behind. But in stage 11, a seas front shock cost Thompson 30 seconds and the Day 2 lead.
Yeah, unfortunately, just slipped my mind. I should have greased the shocks before the rally, and they've just seized up, so we don't have any mid-corner turn or any braking dive, so it's getting a bit sketchy and it's hard to trust the car.
So Jones leads the class for the first time as they headed out of service, with Evans in third.
We've enjoyed it. We disappointed they didn't run that other stage, but that's just life. But gee, I'm battling away with one or two of the Category 2 guys and having a ball.
Andy Martin had rejoined, keen to get some kilometres under his belt, would slot into 4th place.
For Andy, these are key left-hand drive miles before the new toy turns up.
Jordan Grant was just 9 seconds back at the service, but he had a hole at a piston, and while the car was still running, barely make it to stage 14, where he would retire.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was really keen to come back down here and redo from last year, and the car had been rebuilt and we thought we were sus, but a very small fuel rail mounting brake cost us this, but that's motorsport, so we'll just take it on the shoulder and keep going.
Lucas Ramsey and Jackson Clendon left to battle for 5th place. Ramsey wants to make his mark in his first year of championship rallying. And for Clendon, his mission was to score as many points as possible while he awaits his new Fiesta. Rookie JP Vandermees had a scare in stage 11 when his engine mounts broke. He was able to limp out and repair the damage before stage 12. The historic class was again a battle of John Silcock and Shane Merland. Silcock pushing hard on the second stage to edge out a 30-second lead through the morning.
John felt Shane was getting a little bit close at the end of day 1, so he put a bit of extra something on his week fix Sunday morning. But
Merland was up for the challenge and enjoying the battle.
The car's been great. Haven't touched it, but put tyres on it. So it's fantastic. It's a great little weapon. Well, it's a bit like turning the clock back for me. You know, so I started back in the early 70s, which was the days of Mini Cooper S's and Escorts and one thing and another, and then I progressed through to the four-wheel drives and an Impreza, and then I had a few years off, and then came back into the beginnings again, you might say. So suits my age group, put it that way.
And of course, all the drivers were fighting hard for the Otago Classic honours. Anthony Jones, still finding the cresty roads not to his taste, happy to sit in third and wait for round 2.
Just too slow for these fast roads down here. I don't enjoy those crests. It's a great rally to come and do, but oh my God, it's just far too fast for my liking.
Graham Cowie arrived at service in 4th and happy with his morning.
Been a good start, no troubles, just a bit of dust in the first stage, bit of sunstrike, a couple of cars in the way, but it was all right. And then the next 2 stages were really good.
But on the next stage, he crashed out and unfortunately the car caught fire and burnt out, causing the stage to be cancelled. Thankfully, both he and James Coles were able to escape the frightening incident. Brent Taylor continued where he'd left off at the open class, but Daniel Haynes had eaten a power breakfast. He chased Taylor through the morning stages with new pace.
Long 4 left minus.
And it's a noticeable step up from Dan on day 2. You can see how much more confidence he's got throwing the car into the corners, and that only comes with seat time.
Then you're through.
It's getting a bit dusty through here though.
Yeah, disappointment for Dave Strong. This is engine issues. He'd retired, with Haynes passing him in the stage.
7 all right.
Chris Alexander still going though, and now in a podium position.
But he's fighting his own issues with a differential problem. So in the NZRC 2-wheel drive class, Dylan Thompson with a comfortable lead, but Bryn Jones now extending that margin over Charlie Evans for second. Open 2-wheel drive sees Brent Taylor well out in front, but Dan Haynes is unthreatened in second place. And in the historics, John Silcock's given himself a bit of a margin over Shane Merland, with Anthony Jones in third.
Unfortunately, Brent Taylor broke a throttle cable in stage 15, losing 20 minutes. So as we see here, Dan Haynes inheriting the lead for the day and overall for the class.
Over crest and opens past junction. Keep going, keep going.
And it got even better for Haynes when Taylor turned left on Curry Bush and had a half spin. The long trip south for Chris Alexander was well worth it, coming home on the podium. It wasn't without its moments.
And this one very nearly soured the taste of cheap, warm champagne on a Sunday afternoon.
With Cowie retired, Jones was on the podium in the historics and spent the afternoon consolidating his points. Merlin, not able to make up the time from the morning, stayed in second, also kept his top 3 position in the Otago Classic Rally.
And as you can see, he didn't miss the top step of the podium for a lack of trying.
But a great drive from Silcock to finish top historic in NZRC and second in the Classic Rally to Dean Buist.
And top drive to Dean in the car they nicknamed the Whistling Pig. It'd be great to see it in the championship full time.
Yes, I sort of had to make a bit of a break this morning. Shane was a bit close to us this morning, and I thought, we're really going to have to make a break and get it comfortable. And fortunately, we managed to beat him at every stage today. So that was the pressure sort of came off slightly, which is great. But it's never over till it's over here, unfortunately.
The final result in the NZRC 2-wheel drive class unchanged from the morning. Thompson's service park fix had repaired his shock. He was able to ease out a comfortable win.
Crest into 6 right minus, finish.
Can't see. Where the are you, mate? The finish is 2 Ks away. What?
He also came really close to setting the 2-wheel drive outright record through Curry Bush.
The 6 left minus and 2, I think. Huh? Come back 2 corners from the finish now.
2 corners, care 7, 5 right, tighten 5 at top.
Yep.
100, care 7 left minus, 30. Crest into 6 right minus, finish.
Turns out the only guy faster through Curry Bush than Dylan is his co-driver.
Not a chance we did it.
Great result for Bryn Jones to follow up his debut season last year. And a podium for Evans on his first visit to Otago. Despite not finishing day one, Andy Martin picking up 4th on day 2 ahead of Lucas Ramsey.
So a full bag of points for Dylan Thompson in the NZRC two-wheel drive category. Great redemption for Bryn Jones after a gut-wrenching 2021, and Charlie Evans a top-notch effort in 3rd. In the open two-wheel drive class, Dan Haynes came away victorious, stepping up from the Rally Challenge class. Brent Taylor still recovered to 2nd, and it was a solid 3rd place for Chris Alexander. And in the end, it was a solid victory for John Silcock in the Historics, just over a minute clear of Shane Merlin, with Anthony Jones in 3rd.
For a last-minute entry and a co-driver that had never sat in a rally car or done a rally, we couldn't have asked for much more. It was an incredible weekend. Everything worked perfectly, and there's no better thrill. And yeah, if we are first two-wheel drive, that'll be awesome. At Otago in a Fiesta, that's bloody incredible.
So a thrilling way to start our 2022 Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. Join us in a few weeks' time as we head north to Whangarei. More thrills and spills.
Where the fuck are you, mate? The finish is...